Hi guys! So these last couple of months we have shared information on living in Indonesia. Today we're going to do something slightly different.
Yes, in this video we're going to share our ultimate 10-day Bali road trip. We have traveled to Bali many times in the last 20 years, and on our last visit we did an amazing road trip along our favorite parts of Bali. It will take you away from the crowds and surround you with the culture and nature that makes Bali so special.
So, if you are planning a trip to this magical island and are not sure what you can do in 10 days, then this is a video for you.
Before we begin, we need to start off with some practical things. First of all, we did this itinerary with our 4-year-old son, but it is perfect for all kinds of travelers, whether you are a couple, a group of friends, or traveling solo.
Secondly, this itinerary is a road trip, meaning you will be moving around the whole island. Before we had our son, we always rented motorbikes for our whole trip and we drove to every corner of the island. Driving on motorbikes enables you to see and experience a lot more. You can make sudden turns into the smallest streets, and somehow when you get lost, you just continue driving until you find your way again, right?
Exactly, and even though we highly recommend going by motorbike, we want to warn you that you really need to be an experienced driver.
Yeah.
Traffic is intense, and at the end of the day, you are dead tired of being exposed to the sun, heat, and pollution. On our last trip, we arranged a car to take us to our next destination, and once there, we rented a motorbike. The traffic in the areas that we have included in this road trip is not as crazy as in Seminyak, Kuta, and Canggu area, so perfect to go touring by motorbike.
Yeah, but don't forget to arrange an international driving license so you can rent a motorbike. Police have roadblocks everywhere on the island and will ask you for your original driver's license and the international one. So make sure you have both on you.
As for a driver, you can always arrange one at your accommodation. Some of them have whole day prices and will offer you a whole tour around the island. But for this road trip, you just want the pick-up and drop-off service.
To get an indication of how much you will need to pay, we use the Grab app. It will immediately show how much they will charge. That helps us when we have to negotiate a price at the reception. Comes in handy. For this road trip, we couldn't arrange a driver through the Grab app because in some areas you just don't have this service. So you will need to arrange a driver at the reception of your accommodation. They will ask you for a slightly higher price than Grab because the driver will have to drive back with an empty car.
So the Bali road trip that we really love doing is... Sanur has always been a starting point for our holidays. Sanur is a quiet village along a nice beach, making it a great place to recover from a long flight. The village is basically set along a main street called Jalan Tamblingan, and it runs parallel to the beach.
The beach is really nice in Sanur, depending on where you are exactly and considering the tidal conditions, of course. Day 2. If you are suffering from a jet lag, make sure you head to the beach towards the amazing sunrise.
From Sanur, we drove to Sidemen and arrived there in the afternoon. We immediately arranged a motorbike and drove through the area. There's a road that makes a loop through and around the valley, enabling you to drive along the little streets and will give you amazing views of the rice terraces and mountains.
On day 3, you can either arrange a local guide to take you around the beautiful parts of Sidemen, or you can, like us, jump on the motorbike and drive through the hills in the direction of Padang Bai.
Yeah, Padang Bai is a small town with a harbor and is known for its diving tours. We particularly love the beach just next to Padang Bai called Pantai Bias Tunggal. When we were there, it was quite a hike to get there, but it is worth it, as you can see.
There's also an option to skip Padang Bai and head straight away for Candi Dasa, the next village towards the east. If you drive a bit further, you will find Pantai Pasir Putih, a white sandy beach.
So after lunch, In Padangbai, we headed back to Sidemen. We always choose to go in the morning to the beach to avoid driving back in the dark. Once in Sidemen, we relax at the pool.
Day 4. The mornings are the best time to walk around Sidemen. Because our son is little, we just had a stroll along the little streets. But if you want, you can always arrange a local guide to show you around before heading down south to Ubud.
Yeah, we arrived in Ubud late in the afternoon. After arranging a motorbike, we headed to town to enjoy delicious food. Traffic in Ubud is pretty crazy, so we prefer to go to the hamlets surrounding Ubud, such as Champuan, New Kuning, Tegalalang, Penestanan, and of course, I went for a wonderful spa treatment at the end of the day.
Day 5. Every time when we're in Ubud, we head to the market early in the morning. We love this colorful market and we like to get delicious cakes for breakfast. From there you could drive through town and stop at the monkey forest if you like. In our case, we went for a rice field walk which starts at Champuan. It's a short walk and ideal just to go exploring yourself without getting lost too much. It's a pretty easy one.
But if you are in Bali for the first time, then we highly recommend going on one of the many downhill bicycle tours. They will take you to Mount Batur and from there on you drive downhill through little villages and along rice fields back to Ubud.
Another option is to go on a tour by motorbike or car and visit the highlights in the area. You can visit the temples of Goa Gajah, Gunung Kawi, Tirta Empul, and drive all the way to Kintamani for views of Mount Batur. And then you can always head back, stopping at various waterfalls and the temple complex of Pura Kehen, which is one of our favorites.
Day 6. If you are up to it, you can wake up early and do the rice field walk that we did the day before in Ubud. From there, arrange a car or drive to Batukaru. This area is known for its amazing rice fields and mountains. We stayed at a lovely homestay in Wongaya Gede, which was located between valleys of rice fields.
We highly recommend staying here and we'll place a link in the description below. There are of course many other amazing places to stay, but just make sure you can give the driver the exact address, because you don't want to end up on the wrong side of the mountain only to have to drive back south in order to find the road that will take you along the correct side again.
Once we had settled in, we just wandered around the area and walked through the rice fields that were located just at our doorstep.
Day 7. We woke up early to explore the other parts of the rice fields, and after breakfast we jumped on our motorbike and headed to the famous Batukaru temple. It's a beautiful temple and definitely worth visiting. From there on we drove to Jatiluwi. Since a couple of years, Jatiluwi is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Perhaps because of this, it seems over-organized. There are a lot of signs everywhere and so many buses full of people walking through the rice fields.
Yeah, when we visited Jatiluwi 10 years ago, all we would see were farmers working in the fields, no one else. So we were pretty disappointed with how much it has changed. But that is something everybody experiences when returning to Bali over the years. We did see that there were bicycle tours offered in this area. So if you like this, then we highly recommend doing this to get to know the Jatiluwi area better. We would have done this if we knew that Jatiluwi has changed as it has.
In the afternoon, we went to the hot water springs and we really loved it. We had our own private hot spring and we were allowed to just soak there for an hour. A wonderful way to end the day.
On day 8, we arranged a driver who picked us up just after breakfast and brought us to Jimbaran. Once there, we headed straight to the beach. We love hanging at the southern part of Jimbaran beach. The sand is always clean there, and if you arrive early in the day, then the shade of the trees just in front of the Intercontinental Hotel is really nice. In the late afternoon, there is a nice crowd enjoying the sunset.
Day 9. In the early mornings, Jimbaran is famous for its fish market. If you haven't been to one before, then it is worth going to have a look. We always love watching the action on the beach and seeing how the fish was carried off the boats.
After breakfast, we rented a bike and headed to the south called the Bukit. Here you can find a lot of popular surf beaches along the coast such as Balangan Beach, Dreamland Beach, Bingin Beach, Padang Beach, Uluwatu Beach, and Niang Niang Beach.
Yes, and on this trip we went to our favorite, Balangang Beach. There are a lot of rocks and coral, but at low tide the water is so clear and calm you can see exactly where you can place your feet. We love sitting nearby the rocks in the morning as it provides enough shade for us.
After lunch, we decided to go to Padang Beach. This used to be our favorite too, but now we were shocked. The whole area has changed. Where there used to be nothing at all, now the road has rows of international surf shops on both sides, and there was this huge parking area.
The beach was so busy. People even placed their belongings right at the waterfront, only to have it washed away by a huge wave. We left soon enough. We didn't have time to check the other beaches where we had been before, but we would have loved to go to Uluwatu, because the last time we were there it was amazing. Hopefully it hasn't changed too much over the years.
Day 10 was the last day of our road trip. If you have a flight, then Jimbaran is a perfect place to be. You can easily go for a swim before catching a 20-minute taxi ride to the airport.
So that's it for our 10-day road trip in Bali. We had an amazing time and we hope we have inspired you to visit the places that we recommend. As said before, the itinerary is also meant to give you an idea of what you can do in 10 days.
If you have more time, then we highly recommend continuing your road trip from Batukaru to Munduk and Lovina or Pemutaran in the north. From there, make sure you drive south along the smaller roads passing Pupuan. The rice fields and views are just beautiful there.
Also, if you know that the Balinese are celebrating Kuningan or Galungan, then make sure you visit a temple. During this time, the temples are beautifully decorated and you will see strings of Balinese placing offerings on their heads. If the Balinese are not celebrating one of these holidays, have no fear. You are very likely to bump into one of the many beautiful temple celebrations during your road trip.
We didn't include Seminyak, Canggu and Nusa Dua on our road trip. From the very beginning, we avoided these areas because this is the Bali we do not like. Fancy westernized restaurants, beach clubs and shops dominate this area. Traffic is too busy for the little streets and every bit of nature has to make way for another villa. So from our experience, people who visited Bali and don't understand why Bali is so popular or complain that it is so busy mainly visited this busy part of Bali. If you do prefer this type of destination, then of course you should include it in your holiday itinerary.
Well, that is our 10 days Bali road trip and travel tips. We hope we have been able to show you a different part of Bali and that you are ready to start exploring the rural parts of the island. Believe me, you won't regret it. Also, we have added a couple of useful links to a website we have created ourselves about traveling in Bali. These links will give you more insight and information on the villages we visited on our road trips and all the things you can do once you're there.
And last but not least, please leave your comments below this video. We would love to hear if you picture yourself doing this road trip. And like and subscribe to let us know if we should make more road trip videos of other destinations. Thank you very much for watching and bye-bye.
Bye!